So the trend of making videos about this game is probably over, but I don't care. I just want to make a video about it. Anyway, I got into the game Among Us, so welcome back to Joester Reviews, the show where we review things. And man, it feels really good to finally be saying that again. So first, let's talk about the goods. This game is a nice, simple way to kill some time. The design of the characters in the background are cartoony and simple, but it looks nice and pleasing. It's not complicated, but doesn't need to be. And I quite like that you don't have to be a hacker or some gaming master in order to do well in this game. I think there's a good enough combination of luck and skill in the win conditions that it feels plausible. The imposter might kill you, but that doesn't destroy your chances of winning. You can still do tasks while dead. And the tasks themselves are alright. They can range from very simplistic to stuff that I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, what even was that calibrate distributor task from electrical? Like, they don't provide tutorials, so I have never known what on earth I'm supposed to do with that. But, like, for the most part, the minigames are nice and simple. They don't really require that much brain work, but they're alright. They kind of remind me of the puzzles from Lego games, and I am all for that. By the way, I will totally do a review of the Skywalker Saga when it comes out. Another thing I like about this game is the levels of customization in it. Sure, the ways that you can, edit your avatar aren't revolutionary, but the fact that you can edit the game elements themselves is mind-blowing to me. Like, when I first played it, I was like, why are these motion controls so clunky? Like, I'm so slow. But then I realized I can make myself faster if I want to. That's awesome. I just really like the way that you can, actually, edit the game mechanics themselves, sort of, so that you can suit it to yourself. So my last positive of this game is the whole, community surrounding it. Unlike the communities around other online games, this one doesn't incite swear-filled arguments and destroyed friendships. Maybe I was always in unusual civil servers or something, but there was never that one guy who would just be a giant trash bag and ruin the game for everybody. And I just like the inside jokes in it. This was the first ever online multiplayer game I ever got into, so I could experience all the little tidbits like I never could before. This probably won't be nearly as big of a draw for other people, but this is my review. I get to do whatever I want. Ha ha ha. So let's talk briefly about the bad. Nothing in this section is a deal breaker, but it is stuff that could hinder the experience of playing an otherwise great game. The first thing that comes to mind to me is that some of the minigames are frustratingly simple. Yeah, I do like most of them, like the fixed wiring or the asteroid shooting games. They're not complex, but they do meet the minimum requirement of you having to put at least a little bit of thought into it, no matter how minimal that thought is. However, there are some mini-games that only require you to press one button, and then the AI does the rest for you. The worst case of this is probably the upload data or whatever, where all you do is press one button and then wait for a couple of seconds. Fun! This kind of suffers a similar problem to Fall Guys, where some of the courses were really fun, but others seem to have had no effort put into them. I know from the good tasks that the developers know how to make a good minigame, but I just wish some of the others required a bit more than just clicking a total of one button to pass. And hey, not all of them even have that in common. Yet forget what I said about the upload data. Submit scan is definitely the worst case of this. Also, there are a lot of elements in this game that seem to be completely pointless. For example, some of you are probably screaming at your screen about how the submit scan task is actually used to create some kind of hologram that can prove your innocence. So I ask you this, why can't every player use it then? Why is it treated as just a normal task? It makes it pretty much useless if it can't be used by all innocent players. Besides, what does it even do? Yeah, it creates some kind of hologram thing that proves your innocence or whatever, but the voters will never use that as evidence. No one will ever think, "Oh, he claims he used the scan earlier. I guess he's not the imposter." And anyway, it's pretty much useless if nobody sees you go through the scan anyway. So even if anyone actually took it seriously, then it would still be completely pointless unless if someone was in the medbay watching you get scanned. Speaking of things that are included in the game that are pretty much useless, how about the security cameras? They're presented as these ways to catch the imposter in the act, but again, they don't really work as intended. First off, the cameras don't even cover enough area to do anything. You have a view of 4 very small portions of the ship, so the odds of the imposter doing something incriminating right in front of them are already low. Also, it's very obvious where the cameras are. They're fixtures on the map. You can see the cameras themselves. And on top of that, they blink red when they're in use. You would have to be beyond stupid to do something on to get caught on the security cameras. So let's just briefly talk about the mixed aspects of this game. I really don't like the voting system because it's always so annoying whenever the real imposters are able to manipulate everybody else into not voting for them. However, the reason why this isn't in the bad section is because I know this isn't the game's fault. Just because there's a lot of buttholes playing it, that's not anything the game did wrong. I just wanted to vent for a second. But there is one way that I think the developers could improve this aspect of the game, and that's by only activating emergency meetings when someone finds a body. The current system of anyone being able to activate a meeting whenever they feel like it is basically just an excuse to be annoying. There has never been a time in my weeks of playing this game of anything fruitful coming out of a randomly called emergency meeting. Most of the time, it's either been called because someone just felt like it, or to basically accuse another player of being sus. I would always just vote on the guy that called the meeting because I don't want those kinds of people in my game. But that's just humans being annoying. It's not the game's fault. So I guess the final verdict is that Among Us is a very nice and simplistic game that is a good time waster with a nice community surrounding it. However, there are still minor problems that do often make the experience a little worse, but it's not enough to make the positive aspects any less good. So I'm proud to say that this game is fun. I would totally recommend Among Us. So this game has become a breeding ground for hilarious gameplay fails, and my experience was no different. The best part came from this clip where you'll see. Oh, come on! Before you tell me that I was ruining the game for everyone else, I would just like to say that this was my 4th consecutive time being the imposter. So that was my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like in your comment and leave a like in your comment. Wow. I meant to say leave a like and comment, but okay, I guess we're going with this today.